mentioned that it was in the final stretch. So final stretch could really mean anything. Who knows?
Yeah, I read that on IGN a while back, saying that they're only halfway done. Um, that's not a good thing to actually state. You
Yeah.
don't know what's going on with that. I find that I find that the 3D Zelda games now have gone as far as they possibly can. 'Cause I don't see any new ideas coming up in the future.
Yeah, and with like I feel like it might be taking too much over the motion controls more than like really like cool gameplay. I'd rather play with a controller, honestly.
Yeah, most people are not impressed with the motion controllers, but seeing how it's Zelda, it's still gonna sell no matter what.
Yeah, that's true.
Still think it's going to be a good game no matter what.
I
Yeah, I'm
don't
sure it'll be
know.
good.
Well, I'm not a Zelda fan. I know you guys are, but
I'm not really that big of a Zelda fan. I've never actually completed a Zelda game. It's just like interesting, and then I lose interest.
yeah, I have the same problem. Alright, so I got a piece of news that quote unquote Static gave me, but
Ooh.
uh, Portal 2 gets a final release date. Valve has announced that it will be coming out on April 21st for all platforms, excluding the Wii and handhelds. It's even coming on Mac, by the way, which is pointless.
Hating on Max.
Yep. But I still think this game's gonna run into Valve time like all Valve games. I see it coming out. It's gonna come out this year, because if you watch at E3, like how much they've accomplished in all their level designs, it's close, but they're probably doing all the polish they can, and I think they've discovered that the co-op mode is going to be the most important. That they're probably really working hard on getting that done.
Yeah, it was delayed once already to this date to April 21st. And yeah, I wouldn't be surprised if it was like maybe later.
It
Valve's
was
pretty
supposed to
picky.
come out last Christmas, like this last year, 2010.
Yeah.
But once they announced at E3 that it's coming to PS3, I think they're trying to get all the platforms at the same point. So they're I know they're bringing Steamworks to PlayStation 3, so they're not going to be using PSN as updates. They're going to be using their own Steamworks, which is brilliant. I think that that's the way all developers should do their games on certain
Yeah.
platforms, to have Steamworks there, kind of, and they can just funnel all the updates and all that like they do on a PC, because that's why Team Fortress 2 is still being played on PC, and it's completely failed on all platforms.
That's really cool. I'm glad to see that. And like, it wouldn't be allowed to do on Xbox because Xbox has some like really strict like patching, party sharing, weirdness like policy.
Yeah, that is true, but I wonder if Microsoft is willing to compensate that for, because I don't know if Steamworks is on Xbox. I highly doubt it, because I think Left 4 Dead basically failed on 360.
Yeah, I don't think it's gonna be on 360. And Microsoft needs to like figure that out because PS3 is gonna be like competing hardcore, and Microsoft is gonna be like losing major.
Yeah, like a lot of people say, I think Blackbuster Critics stated this in his Ustream on the past couple of days, that the end of this year is going to be the bailout of ship for the 360, because they're all putting their money into casual marketing, and it's sad to see. Even though I'm not a fan of the 360, I still sad to see that a money grubbing company destroying something that has potential.
Yeah, and even like now, even like at E3, like all the companies are like putting their main development on PS3. Like EA's conference, like for like maybe one, all the games were like showcased on PS3. So
Yeah, you can definitely see EA's been siding with PlayStation since the beginning, for PlayStation 1 even.
All right, so let's transition with
Okay.
that into some EA Activision debacle. That whole
Ooh.
Activision countersuing West and Zampella, and then they brought in EA into this whole mix because I don't know, Activision's dumb.
Well, if you read the article on like the actual documentation, I think it's up on IGN where they have the actual paperwork that they can release. That they're trying to delay the suing part or the court dates against
Yeah,
the Infinity Ward uh, executive, former. Um,
yeah,
they're trying so that they run out of money, and
yeah,
that's not a surprise. If you know American justice, it's all about the money.
yeah, really. And it's not that. It's like that they're like delaying this whole thing, and they want like $400 million from EA and like West and Zampella, and it's just like I don't, it seems really annoying that like the and then the Activision just goes to makes like the stupidest claims ever, and it's just like Activision, you're making yourself seem even worse to everyone than you already did.
Sure did. What was the contract breach again? Will that originally start this? Do you remember at all?
Um, I believe it started with um, Activision claimed that EA breached contract by talking with a third party, and then that's why Weston Zampella didn't get the royalties, and they countersued because that was a breach in their contract. So those two were like going at each other, and then Activision was like, "Whoa, EA, I don't really know what you did, but get in on this."
Yeah, that seems awfully, I don't know, bureaucratic. I
Here, Activision says intentionally interfered with contracts, engaged in unfair competition, and aided and abetted breaches of fiduciary duties by the executives.
Which is a heap of shit. I mean, even that in a contract is completely wrong. You're, I know in Canada for a fact that that's not usually in contracts that, uh, that, what was I gonna say? That other companies are allowed to breach you just as long as it's not within terms of any personal company information as how the, for say, Call of Duty's engine, like what part is this and the shooting part of the bullets kind of thing. They're not allowed to do that in contracts typically, talk about that with other competitors, but having that breach in a contract is ridiculous.
Yeah, it
Plus,
just seems so stupid.
yeah, even Activision cutting out their pay for what they've earned is even worse. I mean, if you're breaching your own terms just so that uh, that one of your competitors is talking to your main third-party developer, is a heap of shit. Like, why? Why cancel out that pay? Just make sure that you put it in the contract next time that that they're not going to leave to go to another competitor company for a certain amount of time, because that's what happens.
Hmm. It's just, yeah, it's so ridiculous. It's like they talk to someone. It's like not like they like called them over. I'm sure like they were like, our contract is almost up with Activision. We need to start like, searching around and because we don't want to be stuck making Call of Duty games for the next 50 years. We want to see what other competitors will as do. So they talked to EA, and now EA is dragged into this because like they came to them. It's like,
Yeah, it's a load of crap, but
Activision needs to just get their stuff together and stop causing drama.
yeah, it's typical American business, unfortunately.
yeah, sadly.
Anyways,
Uh,
we're gonna move on because this is gonna be in our debate section later on. So we'll move on to some last pieces of basic
News. I have
news.